We are also going to stream this in YouTube as well.
Okay, perfect.
So maybe we can have some other people that's going to join from outside. We don't know. It's normally 2 a.m. in America. So not many people are going to come. At least one person is watching. So I see that in the screen. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and we are going to have the okay, welcome everybody. So it's a big pleasure to welcome Mr. Hamdullah Turgut, founder and CTO of HOTECH company, which he's going to tell us a little bit about the company as well. And let me see, we have also the live is working. So perfect. Hamdullah, we would like to welcome you to our class here. We are in Taiwan, Kaohsiung, at the National Kaohsiung University of Hospitality and Technology. It looks like the technology is working right now. Usually that doesn't happen. This is the, we really appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule and come and talk to our students and also some of our viewers on YouTube. So we don't know who are going to be able to join, but it will be recorded there. So without further ado, Hamdullah, if that's okay with you, we would like to ask you to start your presentation and feel free to share your screen whenever you want to share. So the students have a copy of your presentation as a PDF, and then the floor is yours. So we have about 1 hour total. So if you can time yourself in such a way that maybe leave some time for questions at the end, or maybe you can entertain questions. Can you see the students? We have a camera here.
Yeah, I can see you and the screen behind.
Okay, David, let me do this. How about now? Is that better? Can you see the students?
Yeah, now I can see them.
Okay, good. The students are very few, everybody, and we have a cameraman here who's going to kind of like pan the room so that you can see everybody. We have about 10-15 people here, but again, like I said, we may have some more people in YouTube channel. 2 people are watching on YouTube. So whoever is watching on YouTube, welcome. And if you have any questions later for Mr. Turgut, you can write on the comments and I will be happy to ask him. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, really it is I'm exciting to have this experience because it's very early morning in the country where I live in Turkey, and Antalya exactly. Anyway, I am really I really appreciate this invitation, and I will try to do my best in order to summarize the subject in such a short time, which is, I think, quite enough also. I will share my screen now.
Perfect. Yes, the screen just came. Wonderful. Yeah, we can see your desktop right now.
Okay. I mean, do you see my presentation screen?
Yes, we see your presentation screen and yourself. Both of
okay. Thank you very much. So let's start with a short story about my experience in hospitality and technology. I am proud to say that I was working in a hotel while I studied computer science. Then after a short time, it was maybe the first, about 20 years ago that I first think about that, yeah, hey, this industry has some problems. And of course, there are various solutions to these problems, but I started to build my own approach and then founded Amora Software Limited, which was a pure, in fact, PMS company. Property management system was, in fact, the backbone solution or backbone software in a hotel environment. After 10 years of experience, I realized that, hey, this is somehow missing. There are such areas that which are not well covered, well managed in terms of process, in terms of data, in terms of coverage, let's say. And then we upgraded to hospitality ERP concept, which means all processes, all departments, all data in a hotel should be managed in a single environment, in a single system. And then coming to these years, which the hotel is not pure a hotel now. Together with its employees, guests, and administrative staff, it's a huge city, in fact. Some of the resort hotels especially are like exactly and like small cities, and even bigger than some small cities with 5,000, 6,000 around people in a single environment. So then the integrations, the being open to outside, etc., emerged as a new approach or new requirements. So we just adapt ourselves also as hospitality technology ecosystem, which means, yes, there are tons of systems and data is flowing everywhere, but there should be a holistic, a conceptual approach. So whatever I will be talking about are the sum of, or a summary of 20-year experience in hospitality technology and hospitality itself. This picture on left side somehow looks like a cartoon, but in fact it reflects a pure reality. There are tons of systems running in a hotel environment, and personally, in fact, we counted more than 30 different softwares that around, and servers, interfaces, teams, manual statistics, which people have to collect data from all these different systems, all this chaotic environment, and creating opportunity for management to make decisions based on this data or predictives, etc. So somehow, as I told at the beginning, PMS was the backbone, the main software in a hotel environment. But nowadays, this industry and the world, in fact, changed so much. In some cases, the people from industry defines PMSs as a prison, which prevents, in some aspects, prevents hotel to be adopted to new age, new technologies, etc. So just to mention the importance of data, which is in fact a generic concept, it can be applied to all industries more or less. You may be hearing constantly about data is the new oil. And to be honest, I will be much more inclined to define data as the new water for the world, because it's everywhere, it's flowing, it's generating, it is handled or perceived everywhere, in all environment, all countries somehow. All industries have their own lakes, let's say, data regarding their own business. But unfortunately, it may be surprising for most of you. It's sad, it is measured, let's say, only about 3% of available data is being used effectively. Coming to the hospitality industry, it's said that, and I strongly believe also that data is the second important asset in a hotel environment, coming just after the people working in that hotel. So for traditional hoteliers, probably it is unbelievable, or it is hard to believe that yeah, the data is much more important than the location, hardware, the room amenities of that hotel. But yeah, this is somehow effect which will emerge, which will be felt more in the future. So also, yeah, there are for individual hotels, which consist about 80% of the hotels in the world. This is also the most effective way to compete with chain hotels or brand environment. On right side, bottom, it is a little bit a statistic from a few months ago, but more or less it's now said the market capital value of online hospitality business leader Priceline is the total of most the biggest 5 chains, traditional chains of the world. So yeah, data issue is a little bit interesting in some concepts when we talk about a typical business. The picture on left side is just a typical construction environment, which is very easy to understand, and it's very you can feel that it's very hard to work in such an environment, or what will be the result. The result is on the right side. This is just from an exact real case. So like this one, when people are talking about data governance, data handling, or benefiting from data, probably they are mostly dreaming about the right side, the completed picture. But unfortunately, it should be handled. This is a journey. And we should be prepared for left side like environment. It is a kind of construction. It takes time, and it is challenging. Another interesting statement about data coming from Professor Dan Ariely. He says that data handling is like teenage sex. I mean, data is like teenage sex. Since everybody talks about it, of course, this everybody, they are teenage, but nobody really knows how to do it exactly. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing it. So everyone claims they are doing it too. So it is something in one side known by everybody, but on the other side, in fact, not well managed by anybody. So another statement from one of the famous professor in this industry, Tim Berners-Lee, he says data is a precious thing and will last longer than the system themselves. Again, for an ordinary hospitality industry member, a professional, it is again hard to believe that you can change your applications, you can change your interface, you can change even your systems, but the data behind should remain, and the only, in fact, a persistent, valuable asset is your data. So before evaluating the interface, the fancy screens and user friendliness, you should be thinking about a data strategy behind whatever application or solution you are looking for. And in another aspect, this is our offer, this is our advised approach to industry. Traditionally, since the room and property was in the center of the hotel management, now it's greatly changed, and it should be designed, maybe redesigned now around the guest. Since the most valuable data which you can benefit, which you have to manage in terms of guest satisfaction, guest revenue generation, or all regarding operations, a hotel or generally any enterprise in hospitality industry first should think about cleaning their guest data, centralizing it, and then design all their applications, all their operations around this data, which in first step you are gaining the clean data phase or step, let's say, and in second phase, when you arrange all your applications around this data, you are now managing your small data. But after taking these steps, you are ready to benefit from big data. Data in internet, data in social media, data in anywhere around the world, which in fact you are not it's not generated in your environment, but you can benefit a lot since it's about your guest, about your even it defines your prices, your satisfactions, expectations, etc. So thinking about a single guest, this is a typical chart which we call a guest-centric approach, or in other way, in more technical way, this is a kind of rich profile for guests. And you see these are there are a lot of data points. There are a lot of operations environments which data is flowing, generating, or being used about a single guest, and all this data should be handled in a centralized way, which we call, again, in other words, this should be the single source of truth for an hotel operation. In such an environment, yes, now you can talk about how to define a next service to buy, or how to offer your guest in a personalized way. And since in terms of volume and in terms of variety, this data is more really complex to handle. We have an offer in different aspects. This offer basically is processing all this data, whatever data you have about the guests, and processing this data to define a digital value for your guests. So after defining this value, and this is a well-known model in other industries, but not so much in hospitality, and I think it can offer a great value for typical hotel business. R means recency, frequency means F means frequency, and M means monetary. But you are not restricted with only these three criteria. It's possible to add some industry specifics to this model, like the cost of a guest, or maybe some other aspects, the influence of the guest. Together, combining all this in digits, let's say, you can create, in basic terms, you can create segments for your guests, which are evaluated, which are determined according to the RFM value of the guest. So basically, this is just a typical, again, example for that. But in a hotel environment, you have stars, let's say, very valuable guests. You have loyal guests, you have just typical or ordinary guests, but on the other side, you have also discounters, where people are looking only for a discounted price only, not even regular ones. And unfortunately, but can be handled, there are also lost guests. So with this approach, or in a data environment, data-oriented environment, it's quite possible to determine which guests are lost, and by exploring the data in hand about these guests, let's say in which aspects they have complaints, why they are lost, when they have some bad experience maybe in hotel, so you can handle, you can make an let's say analysis on that and approach the lost guests even to regaining them, which will be much more durable in some cases. We were always talking about the guest, but it is not the only assets. And as I said at the beginning, even the more valuable assets in a hotel is the people, the team of the hotel. Again, in a traditional environment, you may hear, or you will hear, if you are still, you didn't have an experience yet, but mostly hotelier will be complaining about new generation. They are not obeying exact command order chain. They are not focused, or maybe in some other aspects. But the industry should think about that. The new generation has their new expectations, which is mostly based and which is mostly very obvious in a digital way. So exactly in a similar concept like guest, a hotel should, or a hospitality industry should be approached to their employees also exactly like guests, and how they can manage their performance, their work orders, all the operations, expectations, etc., in a digital way. So if you think about that, also there is a great chaos in that area, since in some cases the employees are only are treated as only human resources issue, but when you analyze the guest reviews, you will see that in most cases the employees are the main role players in these reviews. So it is not only human resource issue, it is a top management issue which should be handled again with new age parameters and mostly with a data-oriented digital approach. Combining all this, in fact, there are also physical assets and finance issues in a hotel environment. As I mentioned again at the beginning, there are so much different systems, there are so much data sources and data repositories that all these, in one side, they are solving some problems, but on the other side, if you are if you look and in a holistic way, if you look at the picture in top management level, it's also a simple cause of great cause. So again, our offer is to have a single repository, a single system for managing all this data, but of course with totally different various solutions, like beyond traditional software or applications. Nowadays, it's very crucial to be able to benefit from mobile applications, benefit from social media, different types of in-house or external call centers. IoT devices are coming with a great coverage. Using chatbots or other similar artificial intelligence technologies creates great value in terms of efficiency, productivity, and satisfaction, etc. But in order to be able to execute all of nearly all these new age benefits, you have to be able to provide ready to use, a clean and manageable data. And first, after managed, or after being able to make your data ready to use in such a modern environment, all these applications, all these these systems which are in tens, and even in some cases in chain environments, it can easily increase to thousands of different solutions. Again, all these solutions can be adopted in somehow very easily, in somehow not so easy, but at least in current parameters, it's very easy to adopt all the systems to use that clean and let's say consolidated data. Of course, beyond traditional solutions, there are a lot of artificial intelligence applications. Again, the first issue you have to solve is data to be used by all these systems, because all of them, in fact, maybe when we are talking about benefits, we are not talking about the requirements, but we should be remembering as always, all these benefits, all these systems, the new age fruits are benefiting from data. Without data, they are not effective. They don't even exist. So let's say hospitality for, digital hospitality, what we should do in generic terms. In hospitality, new age hospitality, totally all decision making or all decisions should be based on data in an analytical way. Hotels have, in some environments, it's called silos, which means sales is in its own. Sales is a kingdom. Operation is another kingdom, front office or maybe finance, etc., are all different kingdoms inside a hotel, but somehow all should share some common base or common ground in order to have a really efficient enterprise environment. So all decisions regarding digitalization should be planned in a holistic way, and all departments should benefit from this common strategy. And while even talking about or even making a decision about a simple app. Digitalization, when we have conversations with most prominent hoteliers, even in some points in a, let's say, in a honest environment, they confess that they are afraid of talking about, or they are afraid of making decision about digitalization, or let's say softwares, technology-based systems, etc. But unfortunately, let's say in some terms, unfortunately, the digitalization strategy should be totally handled at board level, and all CEOs, all general managers or hotel owners have at least a basic strategic understanding of technology, because this is so important that it is vital for a hotel's life, which means in the future you can totally be out of business, or you can increase, you can be in a more stronger position in your business, depending only digital investments. So there are some more or less raw figures about how much you should invest in a hotel, because again, traditionally, most hotels in the world are much less on much less than these levels, let's say. But in order to be really a smart hotel, or even in nowadays, you should be investing about 5% to 10% of your revenues in order to be up to date with all these concepts. But what are the rewards if we invest so much? The rewards can be up to 200% in your profit and employee satisfaction, guest satisfaction, efficiency, etc. And even when we are talking about a brand valuation, and it's an emerging trend that the data in that hotel or the group of hotels, let's say, is now financially evaluated and added to the value of the or market value of that hotel or brand. And yeah, in short, if you have any kind of questions or additional information, if we have, of course, you can contact me with this LinkedIn or email. And let's say, may data enlighten your path in the future in real life.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Turgut. So, any question? Oh, they wanna what you say? Very nice. Thank you. Okay, questions for Mr. Turgut based on his presentation. Who wants to go first? Maybe I will just take one turn, if that's okay, Mr. Turgut. I just want to ask you that in your presentation, you really have drawn a very almost utopic view of hospitality technology. So, you know, obviously, I know that you are trying to achieve this, but I want to ask you, do you know any hotel company right now that has achieved what you have described in terms of all of these ecosystem that the technology is supporting? Is this possible, or does it exist right now in any company that you know of by using any kind of systems or combination of systems?
Okay, in fact, first of all, I should emphasize, and as you may guess, this is a new approach in industry, and this is, as you said, I totally agree with being utopic in one side, but on the other side, I can make you sure that this is a reality which can be applied in nowadays. And yes, maybe not at 100% now, but it's going in that way. We have some examples which we may say about 70 to 80% of this concept is applied, and they are benefiting a lot, and it will be more, and the target is achieving this level with nearly 100%. It's real and it's applicable now. I don't know whether it's appropriate to name them or not, but yeah, we have examples with very high level of this concept applied currently.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, please.
I have a question about artificial intelligence. Because in your PowerPoint it shows employees data. Because before earlier this year, I created a project about employee data become the artificial intelligence to do some recommendation, like a decision support system or expert system to recommend employee to improve or improve their professional skill, or giving them some data analysis result to recommend a new career. So how do you think if you really use the employee data to become the artificial intelligence, is that work or not? Because this project in my opportunity is denied for judgment, because they think it's not really artificial intelligence, it's just a recommendation system for recommend their personal data, not really can use like a machine learning or deep learning to predict the algorithm.
To be honest, Mr. Jian, I couldn't grab exactly the question. Can you please, because the voice is a little bit not so clear.
I know, the voice, yeah, I got it. So as far as I understand that, what you are saying that, you know, these currently the systems, right, the artificial intelligence systems that keep asking that, are they really smart systems, or are they just recommendation systems? And that's one piece, right? Is that right? Okay. First, let's answer this one. What do you think? I mean, you have these things listed here, like checkbots. Like, I'll give you a personal experience myself. I was traveling through Narita Airport in Japan when I was coming to Taiwan. And when I connected to the internet, I got introduced, welcomed by a bot, you know, like a internet-based robot. It asked me some questions. I played with this system. I asked him if there is a good Turkish restaurant in the Japanese airport. He said no. And so I guess what he's trying to say that where are we going with these intelligent systems, artificial intelligence in the future?
Okay. Let's say, in fact, we can think about real life without going about robots or artificial intelligence, etc. In real intelligence environment, let's say there is a person who you know that, or you can easily define as, hey, it's very communicative, and he or she can approach people very appropriately depending on the people in front of them. I mean, in our social environments, when we talk about anybody, we are using a lot of sentence which in fact somehow is data about the person in front of us. And even if a person is very talented to handle their relations or their communication with people, they need to know something about the people in front of them. So this is exactly same in technology area, chatbots, artificial intelligence, all these machine learning, etc. applications. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not seen at the first level, but it depends totally how much data they have and how much clean is clean data they are able to consume in order to make a decision. You can be sure that, again, in real environments, if you handle or if you have enough data to define or to make a decision, let's say in your example, if their data is up to date with all restaurants around, it's very easy to offer or to reply your question, hey, there is a Turkish food restaurant in this location. And you can think that whatever is possible in terms of algorithm, if you can define an algorithm, if there is a restaurant which in their concepts there is a Turkish, Mediterranean, etc. Definitions, you can offer it as, or you can reply with that specific restaurant. So in short, if data is managed, that's why I think this is so strategic, this is so important. If you manage to make your data ready to be used in a modern way, all these systems can benefit, and they are very, in a satisfactory level, they are able to handle the results, but they need to access a clean and enough data.
Perfect, thank you. Any other question? Anybody has any questions? More questions for Mr. Turgut? One question for me, I see that in here, facial recognition. Do you think that this is going to take place of authentication, in your opinion, in the future, instead of these username passwords, which people share with others, they don't change? How about like biometrics as a form of authentication, not just in hospitality, in your products like HOTECH and Otello, but in general? What is your opinion about that?
To be honest, this is technically, this is currently possible, and we have just started a real case about 2 weeks ago. In this point regarding the how much widely it will be used, it's more a data security, data privacy issue, which should be handled properly. Regarding that context, if in that we are as a technology industry, let's say, there are great works or studies in that area, but in practical, this is again totally, let me say, even it is more than that. We are now trying to guess the happiness level of the people which we are seeing the face. So let's say in a restaurant, you can just instantly, currently, you can instantly get, hey, 60% of people are seems happy, and let's say 10% are very unhappy, and the others are moderate. Yeah, in terms of HOTECH technologies and industry, it's quite possible and currently in application to use very effectively for counting, for check-in, check-out procedures and similar, and it's applicable. Just the safety, let's say, safety in mind, or data privacy in mind, should be, this type of application should be handled a little bit with great attention.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. This is great. I'm gonna make it bigger. We just want to make that yours. Okay, perfect. That's great. Any other questions before we finish the conversation with Mr. Turgut? Thank you so much, Mr. Turgut. We appreciate it. But before we let you go, let's take a quick group picture. So I will ask the students to come here. And then you stay there, so obviously you cannot come here. We wish you could host. The students, please come here. We're going to take a group picture. Just go there in front of the, in front of the camera.
That door can open. I already told a student come here.
Just give us a second, okay? Can you see us?
Yeah, I can see, yeah.
You can see the students. So now they are going, by the camera. So we are just waiting for the student to come, take a picture. Very nice. Very, very good.
Our technical to help me, our guest speaker.
Virtual, please come here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just 1 second. We are not done yet. We are going to. You guys can go both sides. Both sides. Not both. You guys. Yeah. Just good. Very good. Go. Yeah. Some girls here too. Let's make it even. Yeah. Okay. Hamdullah, you look very good. Okay, looks good. Yeah. Perfect. Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Let's say this.
Perfect. Thank you again. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you. See you later. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thanks for your help. Thank you. Yep.